Welcome, my friends, to the Bakers and Brawlers podcast. This is episode 47, recorded Friday, the 27th of May, 2022, as I sit in a busy airport in Denver, Colorado, so excuse the background noise. This week, I've got a preview for you of our upcoming Tidecaller novella, Thief of Smoke and Sorrow, plus a little bit on why I chose this particular thief to write about. Okay, so I think I'll get right into it after I warn you that this does not contain spoilers. I'll probably have a spoiler warning because I'm going to do a few of these previews, but this novella actually should be understandable even if you've never read any Tidecaller books, and it won't spoil anything about the main series for you because it happens before Daughter of Blood and Fury, which is the first book in the main series. So there are no spoilers. There are little Easter eggs in this book for those who have read the main series, and they shed a lot of background on some of the characters that appear as minor characters in the series. But there's no spoilers, so if you haven't read it, if you have read it, it's all good. So here's chapter 1, and once it's done, I'll be back with a little more on why I wanted to write about Gaxna.
One. I wake with my blood pounding and my face stuck to something rough. I sit up and suck in a breath. The roof. I'm on the roof, and the hazy light on pale brick and the shouts of vendors in the street below tell me it's almost morning. Instinct takes over, born of years training under the witches. I roll to my feet, looking for enemies, scanning for escape routes, patting my body for tools. They're all there. Thief's rope, poison bracelet, pair of knives, extra wig, herb packets. They are all there. Thief's rope, poison bracelet, pair of knives, extra wig, herb packets. I see no enemies, and after a moment, I recognize the place. Orange glazed ceramic roof tiles, view of the bay off the far edge. This is my current hideout. Or the roof of it, anyway. What in scabs am I doing sleeping on the roof? I take a ragged breath, heart still pounding, trying to clear my thoughts. I should be downstairs, passed out for another 4 hours. It's morning. I hate morning. Nightmares again? Maybe, but it's been months, and they never made me sleepwalk up to the roof. I run a hand through the stubble on my scalp, absently adjusting the straps over my boobs. I'm okay, I whisper, like a torch against the growing darkness inside. My heart is beating, my lungs are working, my mind is here and now. I'm okay. That's the mantra they taught me at the farm after I escaped the witches. The mantra that's kept me sane the last 3 years. The mantra that made me strong enough to come back here. I inhale, say the mantra again, and focus on what's true. I'm not in the Witches Guild. They haven't contacted me in years, haven't tried to possess me since I escaped. This could have been something else. Still, an icy serpent of fear coils in my belly, whispering, "No, there's nothing else it could be. You're not safe. You've never been safe. You need to run." That makes me think of Owena, the rail-thin guild runaway sleeping in the hideout downstairs. The serpent tightens its coils. Did they come and take her? Is that what this is about? But when I climb down, I find her safe and unhurt, though she sits awake in the muggy pre-dawn, eyes wide and watching. "It's just me," I say, holding up a hand as I climb in. "Just Gaxna. You're safe." Funny how I can pull myself together when it's for someone else. "Where did you go?" Her voice is deadpan, one of the ways girls react to the witch's training. Estrija was like that, for a while. "I don't know," I tell her. I should hide it, but this is one of the rules I made with myself when I started rescuing the novices who want to get free. I wouldn't lie to them. They've been lied to enough already, and are usually totally confused by all the rot the witches tell them. Time on the farm is what they need, but I can at least stop the lies. That, and I need the honesty as much as they do. I sit down on one of the crates scattered across the room. This is a lonely life, and I wouldn't make it if I didn't have someone to talk to. Deep down, I know I'm just pretending they're Astresia. Astresia with her soft voice and silky hair, and the way she would trail her fingers down my back while we talked. She's the only one I've ever known who could calm me down. Until she chose the witches over me, anyway. I pull out a clove twist and light it off the candle, leaves crackling as I draw smoke. Now I just have my runaways. Not the same, but there's a beauty to it. Like two travelers sharing an inn. No obligations, no consequences, no reason not to be totally ourselves. It was the guild, she says quietly, certainty in her voice. We don't know that, I say, as much to my own fear as to her. Do you have any abrasions? I look at my hands and find patches of raw flesh. I think I saw this on the roof and just made myself forget it. I'm good at that. But these are classic blood push scrapes. Not even the senior witches have perfect control over a body. The subject gets cuts and bruises. I do. She just nods, one survivor to another. She probably still has them on her own palms. Do you remember anything? I try, but not very hard. Memories are one of the places I can't fight fear, one of the things the farm couldn't help with. The mistress said they would get weaker with time, that what I did now would replace what happened back then. I'm still working on that. Still waiting for Astresia and the witches to go away. Flashes, I say, and rub at my missing eye. A mansion in Old Surrey, a guard fighting me, and... I jerk my thoughts back to the here and now. Breathe more smoke. You were a bloodseeker, right? Owena asks in that too calm voice. Training for it. I never actually went on a mission. Or, not on my own. You were pushed. It's not a question. Owena knows. I haven't asked her what happened to her in the guild, but I'm sure she was blood pushed too. Everyone is. It's part of learning to trust, they told us. Part of accepting your place in the sisterhood. Part of getting your hands so bloody you can't leave, more like. A few times, I say. These memories, at least, I've been over so many times that they don't hurt the same way. Errands, mostly. Then the last time, they made me meet a monk. Pretend I was someone else. Keep him distracted while their archer lined up a shot. Owena's face is blank. She's old before her time, like all the girls I rescue. Did he die? No, I say, voice getting thick despite myself. I pull hard at the twist, embers glowing in the half-light. The monk realized what they were doing. Dodged. It punctured his lung, maybe a pulmonary artery. They made me chase him. Track him to a fountain and push him under. He was weak enough by then. An emotion moves across her face, her cheekbones casting shadows in the reddening light. You killed him. I laugh out smoke. You get it, at least. The others, they said it wasn't me, that I was just a tool, that I needed to trust in the guild's wisdom, that it would be okay. It's not okay, Owena says quietly. It's never okay. The hopelessness in her voice is like a lifeline, pulling me in. I know that's twisted, but maybe that's why I stay here, rescuing runaways. To pull myself together, to give me purpose. New memories, to bury the old. I take her hand. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but you're free now. And whatever happened back there, you can make a new life. I did. They don't control who you are. That's your choice. She just nods, but I can tell my words don't do much. That's okay. That's the farm's job. I just have to get her there. So what are you going to do now? She asks, eyes still on the floor. Find who did it, I say simply. It all seems so clear now when I have to tell someone else. And make sure they never do it again. Owena sucks in a breath. Even if it's one of the sisters? They have your blood. They'll kill you. Better that than this, I growl, feeling the determination rise as I do. I'm not living like this. I decided that 17 months ago when I first escaped the guild house, and I guess I always knew they wouldn't just let me go. So yeah, going after them might get me killed. But better that than live in fear.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun writing that opening. It's kind of like that White Room opening where you wake up and you don't know what's going on. And yeah, Gaxton is fun to write. So I wanted to talk about why I chose her to write about. And probably, okay, so one reason is that I polled y'all and I gave you a few novella ideas, and by far this was the most popular option. But I also wanted to rate this one the most. Like usual, when I send out a poll, I don't know if I word them in a way that guides you to the answer I want you to have, but like usual, y'all picked the one that I wanted you to pick. And that's because she is so much fun to write, and I haven't gotten to write her. The Tidecaller series is in first person, so we never leave Alethea's head in the way that traditional epic fantasy, you'll have a few different characters and usually they each have their own chapter and you get into several heads. I didn't give myself that luxury in Tidecaller because I wanted it to be so deep in Alethea's head. But it means that we have these other characters that I really want to spend time in their thoughts and see how they're processing the world. And Gaxna is one that on the outside she just comes off as kind of snarky, and hardened. And this admittedly takes place a while before we meet her in the main series, but it was kind of cool to get beneath that snarky, hard shell and explore what's actually going on. And I get to set up some things that happen in the series, and hopefully they make more sense and they hit a little more punch if you're listening to this first. If you are, there are audiobooks of the whole series. Another reason that I wanted to write about Gaxna is that, so I've just finished Book 3, Rebel of Riddle and Woe, and Book 4, Queen of Blood and Blasphemy. I think we are returning to Saray, which is the setting of Book 1. I don't think it's very big spoilers to say that. And I wanted to go back to it and kind of explore what it was like before Book 1 and to wrap my head around what it's going to be like in Book 4. So I got to explore some things like Bloodseeker. That was not a thing that existed in my headcanon when I wrote Book 1, and I think I'll have more to say on that in a future preview. And there are some other things that I'm not going to spoil, just spoiling what comes later in the novella, but there are some other things that I kind of discovered about Saray in writing this that are definitely going to feature in Book 4. So it was pretty awesome to go back, and Gaxna is someone who knows the city intimately in a way that Alethea actually doesn't, for reasons that will be clear to you if you read or have read Book 1. So I'm not going to get into that, but very fun to write Gaxna. I hope that you like being in her head as much as I do. This is chapter 1 of 9 chapters. I don't know how many I'm going to preview, but the whole thing will be available for free for y'all once I've got it finished, and you can just subscribe to the podcast newsletter, and it'll come to you automatically. Or if you're already a subscriber, you can just send me an email and I'll send you the download link. This is not something that I'm releasing to the public. It's just something I've written for my fans. It's not going to be on Amazon or Audible or anything like that, but I do have a way to get it to your device so you can listen to it, but you just have to email me. So if you want to hear all of it, depending on when this comes out, I anticipate late June or early July it should be available. So if you're listening after that and you want to hear the whole thing and don't want to mess around with my preview podcasts, send me an email, hello@levijacobs.com. Otherwise, I will be back in a couple weeks with the next chapter and with some more tidbits about behind-the-scenes stuff. So anyways, hope you enjoyed that, and as usual, that this podcast finds you well and in the company of good books. Till next time, my friends, read on or listen on.
For more information on Levi Jacobs and his books, including the award-winning Tidecaller Chronicles, please visit www.levijacobs.com. Or for a free audiobook, only available to podcast listeners, go to www.levijacobs.com/free. Thanks for listening, and read on.